Well, Linda Brock, welcome to Heart of the City.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on. I'm just so excited to dive into who Linda is. The many seasons and faces of Linda Brock.
Might be your shortest podcast ever.
That's not true.
Who is she? She's pathetically boring.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, right.
And very predictable.
Oh
there you
my
go.
gosh. I don't know about that, Linda. You have been someone I've admired for years. I've had the pleasure
Likewise.
of working with you and just watching how you operate in your professional spaces and, even some of your personal spaces. I just think you're a wonderful mother and amazing, of course, real estate agent. And yeah, I can't wait to dive in.
Well, I have to thank you because you have been instrumental in taking us to a different level. Mm-hmm. And I mean that sincerely. How many times have I shared that personally?
You have. Thank you.
So it's good to be able to share it with others.
Yay. Well, thank you. Okay, so how did you find your way into real estate? Tell us about it.
It just somewhat interesting. Personal dynamics changed in my life. Mm-hmm. And I had these 3 people who wanted to go to college. Mm-hmm. And as much as I love teaching, it was probably not going to be what I needed to be doing to make that happen to all the places they wanted to go. Mm-hmm. So I literally walked into Darlene Brown's office one day and said, I'd like to try this. This is where I think I need to be to make this happen. And if you'll give me a chance, I'll work as hard as I can to, obtain that goal. And it's a funny story because later she told that. She said when I walked out, she just kind of laughed and thought that might be the impossible. But with her guidance and the guidance of so many people who mentored me, like Sue Shaw, who was one of the top agents at that time. And for the most part, I didn't pay attention to real estate agents after buying our house when we relocated to Chattanooga. But I couldn't help but notice the signage that was on East Brainerd Road, and we lived out in East Brainerd area at that time, and see some of the names. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to learn from the best.
Wow.
And so that's how it began.
That's so cool. Do you feel like that mentorship you had early on has inspired you to mentor others over the course of your real estate career?
It absolutely did. Mm-hmm. I'm ashamed to say that recent years, I haven't had the same amount of time. I might like to do that, but in retirement, I intend to do that, but maybe back in a classroom, not teaching real estate.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Well, I think that there's something to be said for, it's a really cool aspect that your son Lee came on board with you and you've mentored him and you guys have both grown so much together. And so tell me about that. When did he become a part of your team and your career?
That was a bit of a process because when he graduated from Alabama, he went to San Diego where his brother was in law school and his brother had befriended someone who owned a medical supply company. Okay. And he had a great opportunity of selling medical equipment to hospitals and physicians' offices, which he loved. Mm-hmm. He loved being in San Diego. We hated that he was there. But then they were relocating him to Los Angeles, and it was during that period of time. And he had somewhat grown up in the back of my car.
Yeah, I bet.
I always said I'd be arrested today because I'd pick him up from school and I'd say, you get your math homework done and I'll give you some Game Boy time. You sit in here and I'll be back in a minute, as I might have been in your house doing a walkthrough. And so he really heard every aspect of real estate. Wow. But when he decided Los Angeles wasn't the right place for him and he was coming back to Chattanooga, and he also grew up working for my husband, who's a contractor, Dexter White, and he had learned both trades sort of without even realizing he was, because he was sweeping floors for Dexter,
Totally.
But he came back to Chattanooga and became one of his project managers and became a licensed general contractor. Ugh. And then it just evolved from there. He had a lot of time working for Dexter in the evenings and weekends, and I asked him, I said, why don't you get your real estate license and you can help me on weekends and evenings? And he was, I hate to say this, but like the proverbial duck to water.
Oh,
So
wow. How
that's
great. I
how
mean,
it
and what
evolved.
an amazing background to come from the home building, contracting. You know, he really understands that piece of it and like what builds a really amazing home, what to look for in homes, and like what awesome guidance he can give. As you may know, I am the owner and editor of the Scout Guide Chattanooga, and one of my favorite parts of publishing the guide is getting to discover the incredible local businesses that more people deserve to know about. As we're wrapping up scouting for our next edition, we have just a handful of placements left, and I want to ask for your help. Who is a business in Chattanooga that consistently goes above and beyond? Maybe it's a boutique you can't stop recommending, or a restaurant you take every out-of-towner to, a designer, wellness provider, home expert, or creative entrepreneur who does exceptional work and has built something really special. The Scout Guide has always been about celebrating the people and businesses that make our city unique. Not necessarily the biggest names, but the ones creating remarkable experiences and serving our community with excellence. So, if someone immediately comes to mind, email us at chattanooga@thescoutguide.com or send us a message on Instagram. We'd love to learn more about them before we finalize this next volume. And if you've ever wondered whether your business might be a good fit for the Scout Guide, this is the perfect time to reach out. I'd love to have that conversation. We can't wait to see your recommendations.
Oh, yeah. He's a wealth of information
so
that
cool.
a lot of realtors wouldn't have starting out. And he has so much heart. But he didn't begin, it wasn't like he came to work with me right away. He was licensed in 2016, and I do not, as a mom, I didn't think that was the best way for him to begin his career under my wing. And I'm his mother. There's some
Right.
challenges with
Yeah,
that,
totally.
separating mom from being a partnership
Yeah.
or the boss. So he worked on his own for the first 4 years, and it was in 2020 that we actually, maybe a year or two before that, I asked him,
Wow.
let's form this partnership. And it's so much fun.
So much
It's,
fun.
yeah,
I
it
could
is.
tell it
It's
is.
fun.
Yeah, you guys really play well off each other and have just built such an incredible brand and name together. That's awesome. That's so cool.
And he really does have a heart for it. And when I say a heart, not just for the business, but for people.
Yes.
He's very kind and he's patient. And he just, he's a natural.
Yeah.
He is.
You both are very loving and warm and welcoming, and yeah, patient is a great word. Yeah, I feel that. That's so sweet.
I think we have some of the same traits and some of the very polar extreme traits that make for some very interesting times,
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
sure. Yeah. So how
So-
do you navigate now being mom and boss? Like, do you kind of have to take
You know-
those hats on and off, or is it pretty seamless now?
I have to remind myself,
Yeah.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
Because you're always mom.
Always.
It never changes. And there are times I want to say, you're grounded.
Yeah. That's so true. Oh no, that would be
So
really
you have to
hard.
remember, oh, that's right, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how much I've learned from him.
Wow.
And to see things through more youthful eyes and
Yeah.
a different perspective
Yeah.
that I may not have ever practiced because, you have this machine that you feel like is pretty well tuned
Yeah.
and why change what's
Right.
not broken? But then I've learned a lot through watching him navigate his way through the real estate
So
world.
cool.
So it's
Kept it
been
fresh.
good.
Yeah, that's
It
sweet.
has. It's
Yeah.
also created many challenges for me. Not that I really thought I'd want to be challenged, I
Yeah.
want to be coasting, but it's given it a new excitement,
Yeah.
a new layer of this profession that I never anticipated,
That's so cool. I love that.
which makes me think of something else. The one thing that I remember so well was always approaching it as a profession, not as a salesperson, not someone who's marketing homes or selling homes to people, but this is a profession. Just like the doctor I've had for 16 years for my annual checkup. I wanted people to see me, to see Lee as when they were thinking about real estate, they didn't even have to be buying and selling. They just wanted the knowledge. They wanted the experience.
I love that,
So,
Linda. Yeah, that's, I think, really applicable to so many businesses and operating more out of, I think that goes hand in hand with like not necessarily chasing the money. You know,
right.
you chase the relationship and you cultivate the relationship over, always it just being like worried or obsessed around just the dollar amount. Like that will come if you operate in a way that really cares about people and looks and respects that profession of it all. That's so good.
And that's such a good point because if you ask my husband why I do this, he'll say it is the money does not drive her. But we all go to work too.
Of
We pay our
course.
mortgage, we
Yeah.
put food on the table, we
Yeah.
secure our retirement. But I think when you're doing what you love, it is, and that sounds so trite, but it's true when you're doing what you love and it's something you're comfortable with. Before we landed in Chattanooga, I'd bought 9 other homes. So, in a
Wow.
very short period of time, within about 20 to 21 years,
Wow.
and some of those moves were immediate, being on that
Mm.
corporate track. If you wanted to move up, you had to move on. And
Hmm.
so I was what was always defined as the trailing spouse. So I had to learn quickly to buy well. And what did it take to buy well? Which was a real estate professional.
Yeah.
So
So good. So true. Oh, I love that. Okay, let's talk about Chattanooga through your eyes.
oh
You
yeah,
moved here in what year?
1990, 36 years ago. I can't believe it.
Wow. So you've really seen Chattanooga grow and evolve and change, not only from the real estate perspective, but just in general, and you really know what it's like having lived here, living here, running a business here. I mean, there's so many facets to our city that is special. So, what's changed the most through your eyes?
I think it's gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, the obvious, these great local restaurants and, boutiques and all of the outdoor life that we enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly think it's the people. I go
Mm.
back 36 years ago and being a kid who was born and raised in DC, 2 blocks from the Capitol, that,
Wow.
and moving around all the different places we lived in my adult life, not my,
Yeah.
youth.
Childhood.
But the first thing I noticed about Chattanooga was for a small city, it had a big city mentality.
Yeah.
Even back then,
That's
when there
so
was
cool.
nothing downtown, I literally used to put the kids' bikes on the back of my wood laminate caravan, and we would ride bikes on a Saturday in the middle of Market, in the middle of Broad Street, and the
How
kids would want to
great.
finish by 2 because the only restaurant was Crystal's, so they could get a Coke and a square hamburger.
Oh my
So
gosh, I
there
love
was
that.
nothing here, but there was everything in Chattanooga.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And I have really seen it evolve into a young professional city and a
Mm-hmm.
great place for retirees.
Mm-hmm.
And of
So true.
course, raising a family. I
Oh,
mean,
of
there are so
course.
many reasons.
Yes, so
But
good. What excites you about where our city's heading?
I think, again, it goes back to the people.
Yeah.
Again, I saw Chattanooga with a much broader mentality than you
Mm-hmm.
would expect for a
Mm-hmm.
city of its size. And that was enhanced when Volkswagen chose Chattanooga. You
Yes.
felt that European flair.
So true.
Yes, and now, well, I don't love all the beeping. It
Yeah,
reminds me of
right.
where I grew up, and sometimes
Exactly.
I want to say, we don't do that
Yeah.
here. There's a
Cut it with
lot
the
of
road
that.
rage.
But there's so much, I mean, there's just so much to learn. The
Yeah.
people that are coming from all over the place,
So true.
and not necessarily because they're escaping where they're leaving, we hear that a lot,
Yes.
but because they've discovered something
Yeah.
that is real.
Such a gem here. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so true.
yeah.
What makes Chattanooga feel different from other places, do you feel?
Well, it really does offer everything. And we're so centrally located that if someone can't find it here, they can be there in an hour and a half.
Totally.
But I think most people just feel the comfort of the
Mm-hmm.
city.
Mm-hmm.
It does offer anything. As a matter of fact, I think about years ago, I was taking a girls' trip, and we'd always flown to some metropolitan city,
Yeah.
had, the girls' weekend. And on one year, we went to Asheville. It's the only time we'd ever driven to a city. And as we're walking through Asheville, which what isn't great about Asheville?
Yeah.
But I remember turning to them and saying, we need to take a girls' weekend in Chattanooga because Chattanooga is more walkable.
Uh-huh.
It's even more beautiful because you're really so close to the mountain in Asheville. You don't see the surrounding of the
Yes.
mountains.
Yes.
And the
It's
river.
true. The
I mean, there
river.
was so much. So I know I sound like I'm with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, basically you are. I love it. I love it. Okay, let's do a little neighborhood game because you are the expert on all the Chattanooga area neighborhoods. Okay.
Okay.
So I want you to, as the real estate agent and professional, you're going to match the buyer with the neighborhood. So I'm going to be like, if I want X, where would you say they should purchase a home and live? Okay. So if I want walkability, where shall I buy my house?
This episode is brought to you by Siskin Children's Institute, and you're invited to one of Chattanooga's most meaningful nights of the year. Join Siskin on Saturday, August 15 for Star Night 2026, an unforgettable evening of Western glam filled with incredible food, live entertainment, exciting auctions, and powerful stories of hope. Every ticket, sponsorship, and donation helps provide life-changing therapies, diagnostic services, and support for children with special needs and their families right here in our community. Join me and my table as we pull on our boots, dress to impress, and be part of a night where grit, grace, and giving come together. Learn more and reserve your spot today at siskin.org/starnight.
Well, that's kind of interesting because that's changed a little bit. And of course, what you would expect downtown, the South Side, the North Shore, North Chattanooga, Riverview. But now Ottawa. You could be walkable to, Cambridge Square.
So true.
And there are so many places, like I think about Heritage Walk. I'll give Curator Green Tech a push for that. They're so walkable to the little area there that is where you have Loopy's, you have the donut place, you have the place you can create your own. Yeah, and there's Pure Bar and all these things.
I love that.
So little segments. Oh, Red Bank.
Yes.
Look at everything that's happened on Dayton Boulevard.
Yes.
So I would just we'd have to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, because we have a lot of walkability in our area.
And I would want to know more about what is most important to you. What do you need? What do you want?
Right. No, that makes sense. Okay, so if I want views, where am I buying my house?
That's another one that you could go from one end of Hamilton County to the other, and it depends on what those views are. If it's water views, then I might say you could be anywhere from North Chattanooga, Highway 58, out to Harrison, Birchwood, if you're inclined to drive. You don't mind having, that 40-minute drive downtown. And, of course, any of the mountains.
The mountains.
And what would surprise so many people if I said, let's go out to White Oak Mountain. Ooh. It's been interesting. I'll remember the first time I had something for sale in a neighborhood called Horizons. And I had some people who visited from Lookout. And she stood in the family room and said, I had no idea you had any views on this side of town. So
that's hilarious.
If you don't get out, you're not aware of it. But you can be anywhere, from Stringer's Ridge to the top of Lookout Mountain.
So true. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, if I want historic charm, where am I buying my house?
Then probably the best for historic charm would be, Fort Wood, Battery Place. There's just in Highland Park.
Oh, true.
Yes. Burger Place. There's just so many. St. Elmo.
Wow.
Lookout Mountain, Old Town, Signal Mountain. There we go again.
I know.
There's old parts of Ottawa on the college day.
So yeah, you have a lot of historic charm.
There are so many choices. Chattanooga is probably the greatest success story of evolution, gentrification, kindness, affordability.
Agreed. The list goes on. Okay, a few more. If I want great schools, where am I buying?
That is one, of course, that in my profession we have to. My answer would be to you. You just moved here. And as a former classroom teacher in the public school system, I would say the greater Chattanooga area offers some incredibly great public schools. One of the things that has driven the market in Chattanooga are also 3 nationally, internationally recognized prep schools. But they're not the only places that you can get a great education. As a former teacher and as a mother, you get out of it what you put into
Yeah,
it.
it's
So
true.
let's talk about what you need, what you want, and the ages of education.
I love that. You're so
So
consultative.
it
Yeah.
is, I think people are surprised at what they can get in some of the public schools that they can't get in the private schools, and they're not paying as much. But
It's,
those are incredible schools. It just depends on budget
yeah,
and needs.
yeah, so true. Okay, last one. Where would you send someone to buy if they really want acreage?
Well, this is so interesting. I have spent, I don't know how many days recently, I have a family who lives in Chattanooga and they're pushing out. She's a very talented artist, and I have not spent as much time in northern Georgia as I have until
I
recently.
bet.
And I was there all the time, and it just seems like things cycle. But what beautiful areas outside of Chickamauga.
Wow, I
And
bet.
there's an immense amount of untapped acreage
Oh my
and
gosh.
developed acreage that is just there for the purchase. It really
Yes.
is so
Yes.
much. So, and of course, out in the Ottawa area, Soddy Daisy. And again, it depends on the budget.
Yeah.
There's some that was just hit the market. I'd shown it a few weeks back to a couple from Dallas that's 74 acres and you're 7 minutes from downtown.
Wow.
But that has a $5 million price tag.
Yeah.
So, which
Yeah.
is not affordable to most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, that's a good segue because I want to talk about you being in the luxury specialty. You know,
Okay.
you guys have kind of really, I guess, when do you feel like you started really marketing yourselves in the luxury space?
it began sometime after, it began probably during the recovery of the market from the downturn of the market from 2013 on. And, you know, luxury can be at $400,000 or it can be at $4 million. And today, even in the middle market, amenities are what drive the market. If we learned nothing, or I think most families learned from the downturn of the market, either from their parents or the home they were living in, was you didn't necessarily need a big box, but you wanted a well-appointed box. And so, and I'm not trying to avoid just that conversation about the luxury market, but it depends on where you are.
Totally.
Luxury, like I said, doesn't really have a price point. It's about the presentation of it,
I love that.
and it's how it's presented.
I love that.
For a short minute, we started to change our tagline to say, luxury is owning your own home. And then one day, I looked at that and I said, owning a home shouldn't be a luxury. It should be, it's a basic. And we immediately removed that. Didn't even stay with us for a year. Had to change all our business cards back. And but the luxury home is what the people make it. It really is.
Yeah.
So, but how has it evolved? It really is presentation.
Yeah.
We've been using a professional photographer for almost 15 years.
Wow.
And we had the first website.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which began back in 2006, I
That's
think. Might
so
have been
cool.
5.
Wow.
So it was one of my PTA moms when I left teaching, and we remained friends, and I
Yeah.
was still working on PTA at the high school, and she created a website for me.
How sweet.
So,
That's awesome.
so we were always moving in that direction.
Yeah.
And again, it transcends the price points. But if we're talking about the upper end of the luxury market, it again has to do with the presentation of it. And you can take the most basic home and you can reflect it as the most luxurious home
That's so
by
awesome.
how you position the photos, by how you capture those photos. Was that the right time of the day? It's so much more of what we do, Lee and I do, than putting a sign in the yard. I mean, our hands are on everything. That's not always a good thing. But our hands are on from how you first, what is that first photo?
Yeah.
Because you've got 2.3 seconds to capture somebody's
So
attention.
true. Oh my goodness.
So-
So what are some of those pieces you have your hands on? Like if someone brings you a listing, are you ever going to turn it down because it's in the wrong price point? Or you're confident you can make it?
No,
Okay.
absolutely
You can
not.
make anything luxury, and that's the
Now-
spin you're going to put on it.
And that's such a good point. Will I turn it down because it's the wrong price point? If I do not feel like I would bring a buyer to your home because they're depending on me to lead them to a good investment, I don't want their business for that one transaction. I want it for life. Plus, it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And if it's a home that I don't believe in, be price, condition, location, it can be, I walked away from some of the highest end priced homes.
Wow.
Was it the right decision? Probably not sometimes. But was it the right decision for me? Yes.
Yes.
Because you've just moved from Michigan and you're depending on me to lead you to the right investment. And it meets all your needs and wants, but is it going to be marketable in the future? And if I don't think it is,
Wow.
I'm the wrong person to list it for you because I'm not even going to want to show it because
Right.
I have people trusting me
Wow.
to
So
guide
true.
them. Correct.
Yeah. So it's kind of a
So-
personal decision.
It is.
Yeah. There's a lot of like personal and emotion that goes into it in your business, which is interesting to think about. Okay. So you talk about being such an advocate for your clients, which I see and believe every day, but again, there's like an emotional side to that. You are fighting for that client's best interest, their investment, all these things. So when it comes to working in this market with other agents and lenders and all these people, what is the line between like being really firm and going to bat for your clients versus, making nice in the community of, your peers, maybe in real estate? How do you toe that line?
If your yard is looking a little tired in this Tennessee heat, don't give up on it just yet. A quick trip to the barn nursery can bring it back to life. Right now is a great time to plant heat-loving favorites like lantana, coneflowers, butterfly bush, and zinnias, plants that thrive through our hottest summer days with the right care. The knowledgeable and sweet team at the barn nursery can help you choose the perfect plants for your space and show you how to keep them flourishing all season long. Visit the Barn Nursery in Chattanooga and go play in the yard.
Easily. And the reason being, and I've said this to my sellers before, that my number one client is the real estate community. I'm very proud to be a part of this real estate community. There's good, bad, and indifferent in every profession. But treating them with the respect they deserve, because I know the hours that they invest comes back 100-fold.
Wow.
It does. And with appraisers, lenders, now that's not to say I can be firm. And there are times when we need to, all of us, and
all of
whatever
us. Yes.
perspective that is. But hopefully I do it respectfully. And I know all the facts, which I haven't always. And then you know what? I'm the first person to step to the plate and say, I was wrong.
Admit fault. Yes.
And I apologize. So, and you have to be. I'm always surprised at the agents who will say, I can't believe you answered the phone. And I said, well, I'm not with anybody. Of course I'm answering the phone.
Yeah. I mean, I do think you have this reputation. I mean, you are a top dog in the real estate market here, and you are, successful, and you treat your clients with the utmost, people want to work with Linda Brock and Lee Brock. And so I think probably to some agents who are maybe newer or younger, it probably is surprising that you're answering the phone, and while that's a compliment, I'm sure to you, it's like, well, this is my business. Yes, I'm going to answer
I'm
my
gonna
phone.
answer the phone.
Yeah.
There are times when I am alone and I don't answer it, but because I'm focused on
Correct.
something.
Yes.
But I'm so glad you mentioned that in 2006 the first team was created, and of course that's grown dramatically over time. I mean, the teams that Lee and I hate to say competing because I don't feel like I'm competing with
Yeah.
anyone. I feel like I'm competing against us. And because we're only as good as that last transaction.
Wow.
Something that will totally make my skin crawl is when an agent or any other person involved in a transaction refers to it as a deal. These recent political days, I hear deal, we're talking about people's lives.
Yeah.
It's the greatest investment most people make.
Right.
I never lose sight of that, and I also know I'm only as good as the last one.
Wow.
And keeping that in mind. But in terms of growing a team, these are conversations Lee and I have a good bit. I don't need to be the biggest. We don't need to have 15 agents and be at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
We need to be the best that we can be for the people we represent.
I love that.
So
I think that really changes the game and changes the mentality around your growth and your goals when you have a very finite mission, and that's to serve your clients. And then, like I said, the money and the success will follow. If you treat people the way you would want to be treated in dealing with your 9 homes you bought in 20 years, I mean, I'm sure that just goes far beyond any sort of size of team or leaderboard.
it does. It's interesting. I've had people say over the years, boy, real estate's been really good to you. And I'm always quick to say, not arrogantly, I've been very good to real estate in Chattanooga.
Ooh, I love that, Linda. It's so true.
And appreciating the value of homes in Chattanooga, the real estate,
Yes.
and what we had to sell. And nothing has proven that more
Wow.
correctly than the growth of Chattanooga.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, that's so true. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the art of a home. What is the difference between a nice house and a truly memorable house?
Probably has to do with the people. I mean, it really does. That seems like a simple answer. A really nice home or a very memorable home. But I do know what you mean by that. Even me, all the homes I go into, and sometimes, it doesn't necessarily have to be a big, beautiful home, but sometimes you go into a home and you feel the heart of it.
Totally.
And so it truly is the people. Now, when we're called upon to market that home and it's not there, and these are perfectly good people, but they're
Right.
busy, their lives are
Right.
busy, then it's our responsibility to go in there and create the warmth.
The feeling.
For
Yes.
instance, you'll hear very often, get rid of all the personal pictures, depersonalize this. I haven't always aspired to that. Yes, we don't need a picture of the baby from the moment it was born
Yeah.
until it graduated from college going up the staircase.
Yeah.
But I think people like to see some pictures of the family together
Totally.
in wherever they were celebrating or where they were vacationing.
I love that.
Because they see the heart of them.
Yes.
So I've been known to go through their pictures, maybe buy some frames so we put those
Aw,
in,
that's
or
sweet.
choose them and say, let's take these away. Let's
Right.
put these.
That's sweet. I
So-
agree. It just adds that warmth. And, no one wants to buy a home that's sterile and
No.
just a box.
And they can be very minimalistic, and it can
Yes.
still have warmth and heart.
Totally. That's so true.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you notice when you walk into a home?
Oh, that's a hard question because it varies, when they're very open, it's natural. Natural light is probably it. If you go through and read any of my remarks and anything I have listed or have listed, you always see an abundance of natural light as long as there is.
Yeah.
And when there isn't, then we try to create it.
Right.
Different
Totally.
ways, removing draperies,
Totally.
telling them how, or sharing with them how they will want to show the house.
Yes.
And, maybe playing some smooth jazz, which brings the comfort to people. So, but when I walk into a house, probably natural light. Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
And
That's
when
a big one.
it's darker or feels, very segmented. And in a segmented house, an old style traditional home can still reflect a lot of natural light.
Totally.
Because we lighten the walls, because we change the lighting to LEDs. And people always feel like they can land a plane as soon as we
Yes.
make that change.
Yes, I'm sure. What's one feature that never goes out of style?
I think fireplaces.
Ooh.
That is one of the things that, the amount of outdoor living, although I think we were kind of slow to the game. And it was really after Front Gate taught us that we had to invest in much in the outside as we do the inside. And I think about that when I first moved here 36 years ago, we wanted to be on the water. Everything we looked at, and this is going to contradict what I just said, was a big fireplace on the lakeside and small windows.
And
I
that's
thought,
where you want your windows.
that's where, yeah, exactly. It's like, move that
Weird.
fireplace.
Yeah.
So there I am contradicting myself. But yeah, probably outdoor areas and, that what never changes.
Yeah,
yes,
I love that.
is that people, even though they may not even have children playing in the yard anymore or
Yes.
pets, but everybody wants a nice yard.
Yes, so
So-
true. So true. Okay, what's something that instantly makes a house feel welcoming?
Again, it's kind of, sound repetitive, but I think natural light
Yeah,
is,
so true.
I do.
You just want to
And,
be
and
there.
also that, you feel like you can walk through it and relax, when it's cluttered, when it's full, it feels like you need to start cleaning up or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Man, that's so true. Okay, let's talk a little bit about being a woman in business and how that has, so you came from the school teacher world, which I feel like maybe isn't as challenging as a woman, a little
you're
bit
right.
more, accepted and maybe a little bit more frequent you hear of women going into
Exactly.
teaching. But in business, I feel like, we kind of have to hold our own and we have to carve out our space. And I think it's, of course, gotten better over the years. But have there been challenges with that?
Can you believe we have world-class ballet happening right here in Chattanooga? At Chattanooga Ballet, you'll experience breathtaking performances, incredible artistry, and a mission that's all about serving our community through the power of dance. Mark your calendar for the Releve Soiree, an unforgettable evening of live performance, celebration, and giving back, or bring the whole family to Ballet in the Park, a free afternoon of performances, hands-on activities, and fun for all ages. Learn more, grab your tickets, and discover what's next at chaballet.org. That's chaballet.org.
I think only initially, those first 3 years, it was challenging. And you're absolutely right. I remember the day that as you're thinking about your major in undergrad school, well, you can be a teacher, a nurse, or, and it's like,
Three
oh, okay,
options.
thank you for those options. And of course, I went down one of those paths. But you're right, it is. And particularly if you have, you're right. A good example on a value. And a conversation. This is years ago, and we had the greatest respect for each other, out of something that was a little bit challenging. But I challenged the value, came in lower, wrote an epistle, and it was accepted.
Wow.
So, which was a little bit of a rub for that appraiser who is very good at what he does. He's very knowledgeable. certainly I've never made a mistake, only hundreds, you know. But no, we all do, and
Yeah.
it was completely wrong in the way he valued a part of the house. He was giving it lesser
Wow.
value than the main and second level, and we later, I mean, like I said, he still calls me frequently. He'll say, have you ever been in such and such, or have you been in this? Like, I'm
Wow.
doing a refa, and I just wonder if you've been in the
Wow.
comparables about that. So it was, it had to be challenged for my
Right.
client, who was the seller.
Right.
And it was, we're not perfect.
No.
So,
And what a beautiful, what started maybe as a little tension has transformed into a lot of
oh,
mutual respect. And now
immediately.
he sees your value and that you know your stuff. And yeah, I think that's a big part of being a woman in business or in a maybe male dominated field is if you know your stuff, you'll get the respect eventually. It's, I think when there's any question there is where people have a harder time maybe trusting.
And when I first started, two or three of the top agents were males. And so it was a bit of a challenge, but also I was Macy Mountain Lee's mother. That's how they saw me, or somebody's teacher.
Wow. Yeah.
So it took those first almost 2.5
Yes.
years to break through that cycle of, yes, I am, but I'm also,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. What's the most rewarding part of your job?
It really is. As a matter of fact, I just got a text last week from somebody just telling me how much they loved it. It was exactly what they needed. And this is just not, this is 9 months later. It
Oh.
is. And it sounds kind of hokey. I'd probably think it was hokey if somebody was telling me that. But the truth is, it's those moments that you say, yeah, maybe I know what I'm doing.
That's so true.
So
It's so true.
it's
And
not the payoff.
no.
It's those moments. Oh, yesterday a text. He's a really good builder and a good guy, and someone. And I was marketing their a resale, and the sweetest. It was a busy day, and I was back to back and watching that I was not going to be in terribly late for the next person, each one trying to keep people moving without them feeling like
You're
they were
keeping the
being,
movie. Yeah.
shoved. And I'm reading that message at a light, and it was great. But of course, I mean, it was easy. He built the home, and he's amazing. And
Yes, so
so thank you
sweet.
for making, I have to thank
Yes.
you. So
That's so sweet. I love that. What do you hope people say about the way you and your team do business?
I hope they will always say they did what they told us they would do. And we always felt like they were in our corner
I love that.
before and after.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so true because sometimes I'm sure real estate transactions, it's a long game. It's not always like they
Oh, yeah.
contact you and within 3 months they're in their house. I mean, it can be years of just building
Oh,
the
yeah.
relationship, looking for the right thing. And yeah, that's so sweet that they still feel
Yeah.
you were in their corner that whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Sometimes, all the text messages we all get anymore, but the ones 10 years later, maybe longer ago, one out in East Brainerd that I sold, it's been almost 25 years ago, and they still will reach out. Hey, what about a plumber? What, I
Aw.
mean, it's
You're a
just, they
liaison.
know, again, you're the person who was there for them.
That's
You're the
so
person who's
sweet.
there for them.
That's so sweet. I love that. What does home mean to you?
It's just that, I can always, as I'm cresting whatever that home was, wherever I'm going, it's just that feeling that it's comfort. It is.
I love
It's
that.
just comfort.
It's so true. So sweet. All right, Linda, I want you to fill in the blank. This is the final question that we ask
Okay.
everybody. The heart of Linda Brock Homes is?
The people. The people.
Yeah,
It is.
that's wonderful.
That's not to say they're always that might be
Yeah.
a little bristly in the
Yeah,
beginning,
exactly.
but we were absolute in making them soften and,
Yes.
so it's the people.
That's
It
so
is. It's,
sweet.
it's meeting them where they are
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that it's not, there are moments, sometimes we're just the sounding board and
Mm-hmm.
remembering
Mm-hmm.
this isn't about me, this is about
Mm-hmm.
them, this is about everything they're experiencing now.
That's so
So,
sweet.
yeah.
I love it. Well, Linda, you
Yeah.
are wonderful, and I just appreciate your time today. And thank you for inspiring everyone that you touch and meet. And yeah, thanks for being on Heart of the City.
Thank you.